Welcome back to Wrenchie. Thanks for tuning in. As I mentioned in a previous video, I wanted to outfit the 2016 Ninja with a few creature comforts for longer rides, like multi-day rides. And so we'll start with that today with the ram ball stem mount for the phone, GPS, etc. Now, there's 1,001 videos out there on how to do it. It's really quite simple to install. But on the Ninjas, I think, I'm not sure, 2011 maybe forward, but certainly on this one, and certainly on the 2012, there's a little hitch, and no one's really figured out how to do it well, and I probably won't either, but I know it's going to be different than the instructions say. So I'm going to try to show you how the problem that we're trying to solve, and try to think through a way to creatively fix that issue, and take you guys along with me. So let's get wrenching. I'm sure I don't have to take you all through this. You've seen 1,001 of videos on this, but here's the ram mount ball. There you go. And it's the stem, triple clamp stem mount system that consists of this rubber guy, which is supposed to go down inside the hole in the stem. Basically, you wind up cutting a section out of here, which is 1 inch long. You select a washer that has these teeth that bite into the bottom, a washer that goes over the end on the top. You put the long bolt through the stem, and it crushes this rubber thing, which expands it inside the hole, and voila, it's all good. And it usually is. It's very quick. It's 5-minute install usually, unless you have a Ninja. Let me show you the problem. This is where your stem-mounted ram ball mount goes. Normally it would sit here somewhere, however, what direction you want it. And that's all great. The problem with the Ninja is you can see right here that this is actually an Allen key, a large hex opening. So it's not, first of all, it's not round, but that's not the huge problem. I've already broken it open here, so let me show you. Let's back it out. There we go. And as you can see, inside, it's actually really wide, hollow in here. And so you only get a very, very shallow purchase. So back to the parts list here. We've got this rubber spacer. It looks like it's going to be plenty large to get in there. So actually, and there's a solid end here, so I'm wondering how deep that solid part goes. I guess we can find out. It looks like it's probably, how thick the walls are. But if I maybe sliced a chunk out of here, I don't know, 1/4 inch thick or something like that, I guess I can make it thicker. Maybe I can then futz with the diameter and make sure it fits properly inside the bore. And then, let's see, will any of these fit? Looks like this one's going to be our candidate. Let me get a pliers to get that nub off. Just cut this, trim this up a little bit. Does that fit in there? Oh, score! I see that. Look at that. It goes right in. I'm gonna have to. There we go. I need to smooth this bead. That's blue, not that little burr is actually holding it up there. So let me smooth that off. Don't cut yourself, Wrenchie. Just want to get that burr off of there. So it's actually hanging up. It's actually, it looks like it's really that good a fit. So let's see, that would go in. Yeah, just like that. All right. Okay, that's spectacular. The other part of this kit, and this is this little guy here is the nut. It's got a nylon thread in there. That goes in that little hole. Yeah, see? That goes in this little recess here. There we go. It goes in that little recess, but you can see that's just going to fall straight out. So that's no good. But I think if we maybe use some adhesive, maybe super glue or epoxy, not sure. We could make something work here. Also, do we have a washer that is the same diameter? Oh my God, do we really? Look! Oh my God, look at that. This is going to work. So that's exactly what I'm looking for, right? So we got this big hole here, and I don't want this little bolt in here pulling against this thing and, trying to push it, pull the rubber through there. It'll be, it'll wear out over time or something. But since I've got it, why not just drop the little washer in there, put the rubber thing on top of that, and our plastic nut and recessed brass nut in on top of that, bolt through the whole thing, bada bang, bada boom, we're in. So, yeah. So I guess the next thing is let's see if we can fashion a washer out of this thing. So let me get over to the workbench so I can cut, or better yet, I'll bring something over here so I can cut. All right, so I've got this set up here. So, how thick? Well, no shortage of depth. So I guess we can go pretty thick, right? And if I have to make it thinner, I guess I'll have to wind up grinding it down. I don't think I can cut it again, being rubber. So why don't we go like a ½ inch or so? What do you think about there? Yeah, let's do that. Okay, it feels solid. That's good. I didn't want to be just really thin-walled. Makes cutting a challenge. I should have probably used a different kind of blade, but this will work. Again, trying to keep all my fingers attached. That's also one of the operating parameters. This thing's tough, I'll tell you. It's rubber. It's a new blade, so here we go. Oh, fantastic. It's solid all the way through. Now, it's too big around, so I know I'm going to have to shape it. Yeah, stupid me. Okay, right? Well, it's still got a huge plug left. So maybe if I shape it first, then cut it. If I try to shape this now, it's too, if I try to shape this now, it's too small to handle. Kind of a pain in the ass. But if I maybe get it on a grinder and kind of shape it on this, then cut a slice out. Yeah, I should have thought that one through a little better. Okay, well, no, not the end of the world. All right, let me get that set up. Well, as you can see, I have this massive grinder from a previous life. Hoping I can, it's a drum grinder, vacuum system, the whole bit. So I'm wondering if I can grind this down to the diameter I need for the inside diameter of this guy here. I can see that, yeah. All right, so let's fire it up and see what we can do. Okay, so as you can see, we ground this down from its original diameter, which was this, down to this, which now fits in that. So, should be able to cut ourselves a slice. Again, I don't really need too much now, looking at it, but that should be good. Okay, there's our little slice of rubber. So if I drop the washer in, the metal washer, then our rubber washer, okay, so I may have made that too thick because I still have to get this on. Oh, well. No, that's actually going to be pretty good because then we'll cinch it down and it'll be just about flush, if not flush, with the with this. Actually, I can probably have it extend and not be a problem. It's a hollow tube, so no big deal. As we put this back, let me put this back together. I might have sliced out too much. I don't think things all the way through all the time. Dump that out. Do I have enough area here to glue this in? So I can see it's already got a space between it, so it's not a perfect fit. There's a gap around the outside here. It's not a perfect fit in there. It does rattle around a little bit. So whatever I use I'm probably going to need to use an epoxy or a maybe silicone to fill that void and get it to purchase, onto the sides. But I don't know if I have enough wall now because I think I cut it too thick. So, good news is I still have enough to cut a new one. Yes. So, that one's too thick. So, let's go like maybe half of that width. So if that's the current width here, let's go here. Okay. So there's the original thickness. Here's our new one. Hopefully that's focused in. Let's try a dry fit again. Washer. New rubber piece. And now that's flush. Right? So as much glue or adhesive, silicone, whatever it is I'm going to get around here, it'll, I've got full contact with the walls, so so I guess that looks good. So again, just to be clear what the heck I'm trying to achieve. So here's how this whole thing snaps together, right? We've got our rubber, the metal washer, the rubber washer we just made, this little gizmo in here with the plastic with the teeth and the and the brass nut with the nylon threads. This guy goes on top. This bolt goes through, and it bites into the nut button below here, and you cinch down. Shazam, Bob's your uncle, whatever. It'll be nice and cinched down. Challenge is I can't pre-assemble it out here, right? Because I need to get into that socket to torque this down, and so I want all of this goodness in here to stay inside this well, you know, the inside bore, while I'm torquing this thing down from the outside, and then I simply slide it in, torque it in, and I'm good. So that's what the adhesive thinking is just for. So I'm leaning towards epoxy for some god-awful reason. I don't know why. So maybe epoxying in. So what do I got to think about? I want to make sure I only get the epoxy. I want to keep it out of the center bore, right? I want to keep that clear for the bolt to go through. And then maybe just super gluing this guy in to here. Maybe that'd be enough. Because all I have to do is keep it against the, in the well. I don't have to, I'm not, it's got the recess cutouts for the nut itself so it doesn't spin inside. So I'm just trying to hold it against that. And once it's torqued down with the bolt, it's not going to go, obviously nothing's going to go anywhere. So let me think about it a little bit. Well, first of all, let me see what I've got here. And that might make my decision easier. Let's check out the inventory. Well, I checked the inventory, and I have an open silicone tube, which, if you've ever had an open silicone tube, you know it's no good the second time you open it. It's no good. And I have super glue, which doesn't meet the needs of filling up that gap. So, and I also do have epoxy, but it's rated for plastics. And I'm not sure that's the right stuff for this. So I need to make a run, pick up some stuff, and I'll get back and we'll hopefully finish this 5-minute project. Mm-hmm. Okay, we have epoxy. So I think what I'll do is prep these surfaces for the epoxy by degreasing it, little alcohol, I think, and maybe roughing up the surface there because it's really polished, smooth. Just give it something to bite to. Yeah, maybe this too. So I've just used a little scuff pad here to scuff up the internal surfaces in here, inside the nut and on the washer, and on the little plastic thing here. I'm just using a little alcohol to just clean it all up, degrease it, and get it ready for the epoxy. I think I'm going to super glue in the nut. I think the epoxy, what I'm concerned about is it oozing around and getting inside the, where is it here? Getting inside the threads and whatnot and making a mess. And so I think the super glue will be fine if I just tack it inside the opening there. I think that'll be fine. So we're going to epoxy in everything else, and again, the reason being is that this specifically has a little bit of, a 1/16 of an inch gap around, clearance in here. So I need something to fill that up, and the epoxy will do that for us, I think. First we're going to put down a little bit inside, get the washer on it. A little epoxy on the inside. Dab on the washer. Drop that in. Okay. And then we'll put another blob on the inside here. And we'll glue down the rubber. Though I don't think it's going to need too much because it snugs in there pretty good, like I said. But what the hell. So there's our rubber piece. Okay. And now for the plastic. So I'm putting most of the epoxy on the sides where that gap is. I doubt you can see that, but I'm trying to get it up on the sides here. It's kind of a mess. So we can fill that void. Okay. And then in that goes and I'm just going to put a little bit around the top here to fill that space, just to seal it off. Just to put a little tension on it while it cures. There we go. I just want to get a little bit of, see that, just a little bit of tension, just to push it in, not much, just to hold it in there while it cures. Okay. Now, as I feared, I guess, I did get a bit of epoxy in this hole, and I've been spending the last few minutes trying to just clean it out so I can get a good surface for the super glue to purchase to. The reason I didn't want to epoxy it in because I would get all that epoxy in the threads of the nut and it would just be a nightmare trying to get that bolted, at least my theory. So got a little super glue, so let's see if we can't make this work. And yeah, as I figured, that super glue thing has been used before and it's clogged, so Jesus Christ, where's the glue? Here it comes. Let's see if I can get a little in there. And drop our nut in. Hopefully that does it. Okay. Torque spec on this is pretty high. It's like 108 Newton meters, 79.7 I think foot-pounds. Okay, torque down. Looks like our base washer is still in there. Good sign. All right, so we're going to mount it pretty much straight up and down like that. Get a 3mm Allen key. There she is. I can feel her biting into the nut. And she is torquing down. That's good. So as this torques down, that'll pull that plastic spacer with the teeth on it against that rubber pad we put in there. Give it a little bit of cushioning because we want to absorb a little bit of shock, a little bit of vibration. And cinch it down like that's solid. There it is. And now with our ram mount kit on there, we can move this around any way that pleases us. Up here, down here, off to the side, portrait, landscape. You know how these things work, right? I think I'll just temporarily, just for now. Now it's something like that. That gives me nice nav view. And that's, there we go. And there we go. Okay, so there it is. Our ram mount installed in our steering stem for our Ninja 1000. Again, I've had a little experience with this on the Kawasaki C14 Concourse, which also has the same hex steering head bolt with that big gap, big volume underneath the hex head itself. And the problem again is that here, let me show you. This guy they send you, right? Their instructions are to put it into the hole, mark it, cut this, and then measure an inch from the cut. So you have a 1-inch piece. Takes a little plastic nut, where the nut goes, puts it on the bottom, washer on the top, bolt through the whole thing. So you bolt together, it squeezes the rubber and it expands inside the hole that you have inside your steering stem. That's great if you have a constant bore diameter, but in our case, that measurement is only that deep. So all the compression below it is in this hollow, and it doesn't really cinch up inside the bore. It just kind of it winds up actually driving this nut, this plastic piece almost through this thing. So it never really cinches down. That's the problem I had. It stayed on, but I was never happy with it, totally happy. So when I got the 16 Ninja, I saw it's the same bolt situation on the stem. I'm like, okay, we got to try something else. I looked at all the YouTube videos. There's some really great ones out there. I mean, I learned a lot from a lot of people trying to put this thing together. And everyone on a Kawasaki, not just the Ninjas, but I think some of the other ones, maybe the Versus as well. I'm not certain of that. But certainly all the Ninjas, these modern ones, have this same setup and have the same problem. Some just stick it in and it'll work, but I've tried that. I'm not really happy with it. And I've seen a couple other guys do it and have to fumble their way through it kind of like the way I did. They had some really other interesting ways to do it. I don't know if mine's any better. Time will tell. The first time I had to take that apart and pull the triple off, if that nut and everything stays on and everything stays in there and we can get it back together, then I guess that'll prove that point out that it worked. And of course, if the whole mount stays mounted, which there's no way. This thing is like bolted into a frame. It feels like it's really solid right now. I never felt that way in the C14, so that's an improvement at least. All right, so that wraps up this session. Next time, I'm going to be wiring up a 12-volt, 2-amp USB charger USB port right here is where I think I'm going to put it. And I'm going to flush mount it in there and wire it up, and hopefully it will that'll work out. My hope is I will find some switched power terminals on a wiring harness down in the front that I can just tap right into. If not, then it will be an adventure. Thanks for tuning in again. You know the drill. Leave some comments. Subscribe if you like to. Give us a like if you like it. And let me know what your thoughts are on this mounting process. Maybe a better way to do it, and share that with everyone else trying to do this, because it's definitely an issue out there. So ride safe. Keep on wrenching. See you next time.